Fighting with your significant other is inevitable. It happens to the best of us. There's a right way to do it, a wrong way to do it, and even a way to even stop the fight. Here to show us the correct way to get your point across is Brody, the author of Stop the Fight: How to Break Free from the 12 Most Common Arguments and Build a Relationship That Lasts. I like the sound of that, right, Michelle? But I think everyone kind of deals with the bickering and the fighting, right?
Yeah, everyone deals with it. Even the most loving relationships have fights as part of it. And it's really just about how do you stop them, how do you move forward into something more positive.
And in your book, you go through a couple tips, well, many tips on how to do that. But the best part about the book is that there's lots of illustrations.
Right.
So in case people kind of learn that way.
Right. I mean, the idea is it's very hard to know what's happening underneath a fight while it's happening. And as a couples therapist, one of the things that we know how to do is help people see what's underneath. And if you can show it to someone in a picture, it actually makes it even easier to see, what's happening on both sides, what's getting triggered, what are the feelings that are occurring for both parties.
Sure. So probably the first step would be to determine what is this fight really about? Are there underlying issues, right?
Absolutely, because oftentimes what we're fighting about at the surface is not what it's really about.
You're mad about something else.
Right. It's something about, like, either you don't care about me or you've ignored me, or there's something that I'm frustrated about that you're not noticing, and if you don't know what's underneath it, it's very hard to stop it.
And then typically, oh, there we have it right there, the climate of resentment. What does that mean exactly?
Well, a lot of times if you've been in a fight with your partner for a very long time, what happens is you create kind of a climate. It's like the weather is bad.
It's like a pattern. You know what's going to happen, more or less,
You know what's going to happen. Nobody's looking to give to the other. Everyone's waiting to hear that the other person is going to give to them first. And in that climate, it's very hard to change. And of course, what everyone wants is to move to a climate of generosity, where that you're freely giving, you're really interested in the other person, you're freely appreciating what the other person is doing. But it's hard to make that switch without some tools.
And that's where the coping mechanisms come in. I mean, what you're doing to deal with the fight might actually be hurting your partner.
Exactly. And what happens is when any one of us gets triggered about anything that's really important to us, we get defensive. And we start to do what we can to solve the feeling that we're having. But unfortunately, the thing we do to solve it is the thing that ends up triggering the partner.
Yeah, and it looks like in the graphic we just had up there, the person that was getting kind of all of the being yelled at just kind of shut off and didn't care. And that's probably adding fuel to the fire.
Right, and this one actually is interesting because what a person might do is try to interpret what their partner is doing based on their behavior. Like we call it mind reading, right? Where you're saying, I can tell based on your behavior that you don't care about me. You're a person who's, and that then becomes hurtful in itself, and then I'm going to react to that instead of talking about it and saying, what really is in your mind? What are you really thinking and feeling? And if I can solve for that, I can stop the fight.
But if you're in a heat of the argument, isn't it difficult to do that,
Yes.
kind of take a step back?
Yes, it is.
I mean, you say things you don't mean to do.
Absolutely. But the important thing is to recognize that the stuff that we say in the thick of a fight is coming from our brain on fire, essentially, right? I mean, we're under threat. We're doing our fight or flight response. We're really not speaking from the heart. And when you're in that state, it's very hard to stop it. You need to get to a place where your brain can settle down and you can talk more about it and solve it.
Okay. The next picture we have here, this one was over money, correct?
Yes. So this is what often is underneath a money fight, right? One party is saying, I am so frustrated that our money is running out. I'm scared. And the things that you're doing are threatening to me because you're spending too much. In response to that threat, we're going to put up a shield and say, no more spending. Let's be really controlled about what we do. But the problem is that when you get too controlled, when one party's trying to get more controlled about what you do, the other party is saying, stop controlling me. And now I'm under the threat of feeling controlled. And what I'm going to do is try to squeeze out of that, get some freedom for myself. And that is hard to know that that's happening under a money fight. But once you do know that, it's easier to try to solve for both sides of it. Which is the important thing.
Really, you're just trying to fix the problem, one side of the argument, right? And the other person's kind of interpreting it the wrong way.
Exactly. Each person's trying to solve only their own side.
Got it.
And until you see both, it's hard to really get it solved.
Very good. Michelle, where can we find your book?
It's for sale everywhere online, in
just
bookstores.
About everywhere,
just
right?
about everywhere.
Very good. So maybe we could have... we could stop the fighting, right?
That would be amazing.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right.